Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for this video. I am super pumped about what I'm about to talk about. And if you are a purple eyeshadow lover, like, are you with me? Are you locked in? You need to be listening to this video. This little gem, I don't think I've ever been so sure about a review in my life. Like, this is so good. If you don't love purple eyeshadow, I've still got other things to talk about. But I am so supremely impressed by this product. It just makes my heart sing. You know, if you are a big palette user, you know that purple shadows can be some of the most hit and miss shades. Is it gonna show up? Is it gonna be hard to apply? Do I have to apply tons of it to get any color payoff? This is the answer to your eyeshadow prayers. Before I get too ahead of myself here, I'm talking about the Viseart Theory palettes. They recently came out with some new shades. So I picked up both of their new eyeshadow palette shades and their new kind of blush face trio type shades. Now I have a number of larger palettes from this brand, and I also already had one of their original Theory palettes, which is called Minx. When Minx came out, I think there were also two other kind of neutral toned palettes. I think one was called Chroma and one is called Cashmere. Seriously considering getting those palettes as well. We're talking $45 for these palettes. Normally a larger Viseart palette is going to run you $80. So obviously you're getting less product, fewer eyeshadows in these Theory palettes. But in a lot of cases, the way they put them together is they're half matte, half shimmer. So I think it's a great like introduction to this line, a great way to test out the brand and see what you think about their eyeshadows. But my main focus in this video is going to be this type of palette. If you'd like to see more just on this brand in general, if you'd like me to do a video on the larger palettes in the future, every one of them that I have, I'd be happy to do that as well. But one more thing here before I get too ahead of myself, and I know I mentioned this, I think it was in my video where I was giving some recommendations for the Sephora VIB sale. Stephanie Nicole has a fantastic video with the people behind Viseart. It was literally just a long sit-down interview. I will link to that below. It was the most informative thing in terms of giving you the real backstory of the brand, why they do what they do, where their products are made. It was really, really great. Stephanie did a great job, and the folks she was talking to, both from Viseart and Muse Beauty Pro, which is a website that sells a lot of these products in addition to Sephora. It was just really refreshing. It was fun to get to know about a brand on that level, you know, as opposed to just seeing new product after new product. This was really like the why and the how behind it. So I enjoyed it so much. The newest stuff, it's kind of interesting. They've come up with a little bit of a theme to it, I think, because you got this Amethyst palette. Okay, Amethyst is what it's all about for me. I absolutely love this. This is the best purple eyeshadow palette I have ever used, and I expect that it will probably be the best that I will ever use. But then they've released a couple of different blush palettes as well, and each one corresponds to one of their new eyeshadow palettes. So Enamored is sort of the one that is more cool toned and designed to go alongside this guy. These are the two things that I'll be demoing in this video. That's the overall look that I'm wearing. And then the other newer eyeshadow palette that they've come out with is called Nuance. And this one kind of goes outside of the Theory, no pun intended, with behind these palettes because it's all got shimmer in it. And if you're wondering, like, can all these shimmery shades create contrast with one another? They absolutely can. And I don't want to take anything away from this because I'm so gaga over that purple palette, because this is really nice as well. But I must say, one of the things that I do love about these Theory palettes is I really like having the half matte, half shimmer thing. I think that gives you like endless versatility, but this is still a really, really gorgeous palette. And then the face palette that kind of is more warm tone to go with this is called Ablaze. Now the packaging on these palettes, look how compact they are. I mean, the shadow size or the pans in here I think are generous because it only takes a little bit of what you're using, but they fold in like this, and then it's going to be a magnetic closure right there. And what's new about these latest ones, and I think they might be going ahead and doing this with all of them from here on out, is that there's a mirror right here on the inside. That's fantastic too. The shade name is going to show up here. That's on the inside. So before you open them up, they're totally anonymous little eyeshadow palettes. And I don't know, it kind of slows you down a little bit if you got a bunch of them and you're looking for a certain one, you're opening them up and seeing what it is. But at the same time, these magnetic closures, You know, magnetic closures on makeup is like therapy for me, so I don't really mind it. I seem like such a makeup obsessed wacko in this video, I know. The other thing to note packaging wise is that the palettes do come out. Do you notice these little notches? Not just with these, but also on the eyeshadow palettes. Those all come out, and that might play into the fact that they didn't really define these palettes so much shade wise anywhere on the outside. It's because they expect that you might switch them up. If you have a couple, you know, pile your favorite shades into one, or take them all out and put them into some other larger magnetic palette, you could totally do that. So that's a cool option to have here. So again, they're little $45 palettes. I think that's a wonderful value. I don't feel like that's overpriced one bit. The quality in these eyeshadows is so good. I sort of consider what I've just shown you like the overview, and now I really want to get into the nitty gritty. But the smoothness of Viseart shadows, the pigmentation, the what you see is what you get color payoff is so satisfying, you know? It's really nice to see something in a palette and think that it looks beautiful, you know, just to look at the makeup, but then knowing that those same shades are going to translate so beautifully on the eyes. And certain shades even go a step beyond. I'm thinking of the deepest plum in the plum palette. You know, that can look exactly how it looks in the pan, or it can sheer out on the eyes and give you like the most gorgeous gradient of purple looks. But I don't want to leave Minx out of this. Minx is the one that I've had the longest. If you're talking basics, you're getting 3 really great matte basics here that I think every single person could take advantage of. Your matte cream, your matte medium brown, and a nice dark brown, and then these beautiful accent shades. You got this deep kind of like rosy bronze, a really hard to define shade there, but it's absolutely beautiful. This coppery color has so much orangey warmth in it, and then this nice shimmery like golden champagne. This is a great palette. I think it's a total basic must-have. And there's something to be said for the fact that the light shades have just as much intensity as the deep shades. They can all hang with one another. You know, this can blend on top of a darker shade and make a difference, as opposed to just being that light wash of something that barely shows up. And then you've got these dazzling gems over here. You know, these colors just really pack a punch. They pop so much. Now, Amethyst, if you like your purple eyeshadows, this is purple done right. It's purple done absolutely to perfection. So we're seeing 3 matte shades over here and 3 shimmers, and I love that it's not just like, okay, here's light purple, medium purple, dark purple, blah, blah, blah. Like, it is purple, and then it's like all of the shades that are needed alongside it. Like, I think these are your clearest purple shades right down here. This one has a lot of like blue to it, and this one's your rich plum. Then with these shadows, it's like the nice little supporting cast, right? And the mattes are just so pretty. The first look I did with this was just all matte, because I just felt like I could stop there with it, honestly, and it looked so pretty. You got this nice creamy shade that has a little bit of pink. Oh, big detail on these palettes I should have mentioned. There's no overlap with shades. Every palette that they put out, both these and then comparing back to the larger palettes that they make, they're all original, unique creations. So I think that's important to keep in mind. But this light shade here, very cool, has just a little bit of pink in it. This medium shade is like a really nice, dirty, taupey mauve. It's awesome. And then this guy, so good. This dark purple can look any number of ways. It can look exactly like that, or it can lighten up and look about 5 other different ways. It's so cool. And then here you've got the single most brightening shade in the history of eyeshadows. This light pink that they've created is so poppin' on the eyes. If you've got tired eyes, this is your inner corner shade for life. This shimmery taupe with a little bit of purple in it is so stunning. And then this color here, I didn't actually work this one into this particular eye look, but another time I could do that for you. And this is the gorgeous saturated purple with shimmer, but I sense, you know, seeing it side by side with the plum, you've got a little bit more blue in it. It's just tasty, you guys. You need this if you love your purples. It's so beautiful. Nuance, like I said, as you see me kind of turn it in the light here, it's all glowy. Every shade in here has at least a little bit of shine. Some of them can look really metallic. A lot of it also depends on the manner in which you apply them to the eyes. For example, if I'm going to take this shade with a more wispy light crease brush, I'm going to get the depth of color from that, but it's not going to lay down in that really full-on metallic way. But then you might pile on like this shade or this shade or this shade, and you get that really pronounced what you see is what you get effect here. So I do love this palette. palette. I mean, I've loved the looks that I've done with it. I'm not probably falling as head over heels for it as I am with Minx and Amethyst, because I really do love the fact that they put the matte shimmer split there. But I see what they're doing with this palette, because it's kind of like skin in the summertime. It's warm. These shades just all give off the most beautiful glow and sheen on the eyes. Let me know if you want to see more from this in terms of a tutorial. And then the face palettes, seeing them side by side, you can totally tell this is the cool one, this is the warm one. Now, I have just put out a video on like trio cheap products like this that IT Cosmetics came out with, and this one kind of compares to their more pinky tone one, and this one closest compares to their coral one. I gotta say, I love these. I think these are more wearable than the Viseart larger blush palette that I have. I like that product. This is more that grab and go solution, like you don't even have to think about it. Compared to the IT Cosmetics Confidence in Your Glow things, this one is stronger than that one called Instant Natural Glow. I had mentioned in this video that while this is a nice palette, I felt like there wasn't a ton of intensity from the bronzer or the highlight. Here, they're really giving it to you, and this is a very pronounced blush shade as well, this nice mauve color. It's so wearable. It can be so sheer and rosy, but it can also have this little depth that almost takes you toward a plummy look, I think, when it's not in full light. With my skin tone, I can really wear either of these. I mean, I love a good coral blush, and this is great. And this pretty closely compares to the IT Cosmetics one that had the coral blush shade in it. I think it's just kind of a matter of which brand you want to buy from, which style of product you think you're going to prefer. Do you like the removable pans that are in here? But the overall look on my skin is very, very similar to that one. But I think the thing that might send me a little bit over the edge with liking this one in Enamored a bit better is because I think this bronzer shade is even more wearable, and the highlight is just like popping. You know, it really is intense. But that being said, both of these highlights look natural. They look skin-like. They look like glowing skin, not like skin that has been doused in highlighter, okay? So I think it's awesome that they put face products into this super handy, like small format. But as I mentioned earlier, if you're looking to kind of coordinate a look, this is thought to be the cool duo, the Enamored and the Amethyst, and then Nuance and Ablaze are like your warmer look. But what I want to do right now is talk you through the look that I'm wearing. I applied some Milani eyeshadow primer all over my lids, and then I used the lightest shade, the matte color in the Amethyst palette, and I applied that sort of as a base all over my lid, kind of patted it through the crease and up to the brow. And then I went into the medium matte color with a Sigma E25 brush and just built up a nice little bit of contrast there in the crease. And keep in mind, this could be a stopping point. There are so many parts in this demo that could be a stopping point for the look, but I'm just going to keep building and building to show you what it can do. Then I went into one of my favorites here, the dark matte plum, with a flat brush, just started patting that on the outer part of the lid, flipping the brush over at times, pulling it up into the crease and getting that beautiful purple intensity. And as it layers over lighter shades, it can look lighter, or if you choose not to do it that way, it can look darker. Then I started patting this medium kind of taupey with a hint of purple shimmer on my lid, and you can do this with a brush, but I also really like the effect of just patting it on with a finger. And then for some ultimate brightness, I went into that light shimmery pinky shade and went right around my inner corner with a small brush. Then I used some black liquid liner across the upper lash line. I also went with black on my lower inner rim, and then I took the dark plum with a stiff angled brush and just sort of used that to blend in with my wing a little bit, and I used the center matte shade just to soften everything up there on the lower lash line. Then I added some mascara and false lashes. Finished look on the eyes is just, you know, my purple heaven. You know, I love that look. Sadly, I did not incorporate this color in the palette, not because I don't like it, but just because I had enough. I had enough going on purple-wise. But as you kind of saw, there were many different spots in this look where you could cut it off and be like, I'm just gonna use, you know, these two shades for a really soft, natural look. Or you bring in this, and that could be your eyeliner. But then your shimmery pops are all here for you as well. Love that! And then for the color on my face, using the palette called Enamored, and I used the bronzery type shade around my hairline. I took it under the jaw, down the neck, just to make sure I'm all the same color everywhere. Used it very lightly under the cheekbones. Didn't go in with like a heavy contour with this color, but I guess you could if you wanted to. Then this beautifully rosy blush, just tapped that right there on the apples of the cheeks, really blended it out and kind of pulled upward and outward with that color. And then this highlight with just that little bit of pink tone is so, so beautiful and pearly. Anybody with really fair skin, I think is gonna look at this and think, yes, I can do that. You know, that I can wear that and that will show up. I even want to apply just a little bit more of it. I mean, it's just so, just dynamite. Yep, that's a winner right there. Oh, I love it. If you're curious about the lip products that I'm wearing for this look, I'm wearing a couple of the MAC Lip Tensity lipsticks. I've got Driftwood all over, and then I did Medium Rare all over that. So it's a total combo of these two shades. But thank you guys so much for tuning in for this video. I hope it was helpful for you. I mean, I'm just totally geeking out on all things purple eyeshadow and Viseart here today. But yeah, I really have a lot of respect for this brand, learning how particular they are, just how incredibly detail oriented and committed to really perfecting this stuff they are. I love that so much. And I also love that they're good products for being good products. They're not gaining some kind of reputation out there for being like super duper hyped up. I mean, I think when people try this stuff, they like it and all, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes certain things take off on social media and it's like, for what reason? You know, was it just because a certain group of people got paid to say X, Y, and Z about it? Like, I don't know. I just really like what they're doing with their brand and the way they're conducting themselves. And, you know, if you had to get one thing, I would say it's the Amethyst. If you really like that kind of thing, these two, Amethyst and Minx, are probably like my biggest favorite Theory palettes. And then big time love in the Enamored cheek palette, but you can't really go wrong with the other, you know, eye palette and cheek palette either. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you again so much for your time, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.